And today I want to talk about the real estate market in Bulgaria and 10 reasons why I think you should invest in this market. Now, Bulgaria is a lovely country. I've been there a few times, and equally, it's got a beautiful capital city called Sofia and some lovely, lovely towns and cities on the Black Sea, which I visited as well. Namely, my favorite one is Varna. Beautiful city, sea gardens. So basically, you have a park on top and you go down to the beach. So quite unique in that respect. But let's get straight down to 10 reasons why I actually think you should invest in this real estate market. Number one, the prices are amazingly low in Bulgaria. In Sofia, you can find apartments for less than €1,000 per square meters, and equally so in the main Black Sea capital, Varna, beautiful city, but many areas you can find property for less than €1,000 per square meter. This is quite remarkable if you compare it to other Eastern European countries and to Western Europe as well. And indeed, you could look at developing markets like in Cambodia. Often you'll find property in a much less developed country than Bulgaria, which costs you more than €1,000 per square meter. So I think the price in itself makes this worth an investment. Number two, the infrastructure of Bulgaria is actually not bad at all. It's not a rich country, we all do know that. But if you look at the infrastructure on the Black Sea, it's pretty good. It's got all the facilities you need. It's got pretty good ski resorts as well. And the Sofia, the capital, is forever expanding. And the metro is expanding with it. There's new lines being built every few years. And it's a city really, really, really on the up. Now, what I also like about Bulgaria is that if you're renting your place out, it's very much pro-landlord. You don't have to worry about rent controls like you do in Dubai or Berlin. Here, you negotiate freely with your tenants, and it's pretty straightforward to do that. So I think this makes Bulgaria a good place to rent your property. The yields are not too bad either. In the capital city, Sofia, and the main Black Sea city, Varna, you can usually get yields of between 4.5% to 6% gross. This is not too bad when compared to Western European cities, in particular places like London, Paris, where you're often looking at 2 to 3%. In Sofia and Varna, you will almost for sure get 5%. And in some areas, maybe even 6, 7, 8%. This is much better than most Western European countries. Now, also what I like about Bulgaria is the low debt. Now, when we look at Western European countries, in particular countries like Italy and Greece, you look at the government debt to GDP, and the figures are quite frightening, aren't they? I mean, you look at Italy, it's 133%, and Greece is actually higher. And these are figures before COVID-19. The figures will be even frightening after that. But for the sake of keeping good comparisons, I just want you to take a look at Bulgaria. Bulgaria's figure is, yeah, you guessed it, it's a lot less. And when I mean a lot less, it's 20.4%. That is a really, really, really minuscule figure. So the government is really not borrowing too much. And another great thing I like is that the government is actually bringing the debt down. In 2018, it was actually 22.3% of GDP. So the government has brought down borrowing in a year from 18 to 19, from 22.3 to 20.4. Most Western European countries are always struggling not to increase it. And I actually put the UK in this bracket as well, which we all consider, a very strong economy. And their debt is going up, but Bulgaria's is actually going down. So they're well and truly living within their means. And that can only be a good thing. Number 6, what I also like, taxation is very low. Only 10% on rental income. There's only 10% CGT. And also, you pay no inheritance tax to your direct descendants. And I think this taxation is going to stay low because the government's got maneuver here. It doesn't have a high deficit like many Western European countries. So it doesn't need to raise taxes. So I think in the future, this will only help the property market. Number 7. Now, this is a funny one because the Bulgarian lev is actually tied to the euro. And you might say, ooh, that's kind of strange. I actually think if the Bulgarian lev left the euro, it would actually appreciate in value. I don't think it will leave, but it actually were to leave, it would increase in value simply because Bulgaria's economy is getting stronger. Whereas if you look at Western European countries, in particular, you look at your Italy, Spain, Greece, Portugal, it's much, much harder than you look at the UK as well. And the economy is not looking too clever there either. What I like about Bulgaria, and that's point 8, is that it's quite politically stable. It's a stable country, unlike, let's say, the UAE, which is suffering political turmoil. Maybe not inside the country, but there are tensions in the Gulf between the UAE and Qatar and Iran. So this is what I also like about Bulgaria. It's very, very quiet, very stable, just gets on with it. Number 9 is the expanding economy. For the last 3 years, between 17 and 19, the economy has been expanding by over 3% a year. Pretty good. Bulgaria did have a recession like many other countries, but it's really coming back very strong now. And I actually really do like that. Also, the unemployment rate is less than 5%. Now, you look at other Western European countries like Italy. Italy unemployment is 10 to 11%. So it's double. It's more than double that of Bulgaria. And I think, that's a good thing when obviously most of the population are working. The wages are not very high in Bulgaria, but most people work and live within their means, and the economy is expanding. All of that points to a pretty good future, and to a future perhaps where Bulgaria, if will not catch up with the Western European economies in the next 10, 15 years, it will certainly get closer to them. And when you're looking at a property investment, this can only be an advantage. And number 10, what I also like, the Bulgarians are very, very highly educated people. Many of them speak several languages, or if you go to Bulgaria, you'll find somebody that speaks English. German is very well spoken as well. Unlike in Southern European countries where many of these, for example, if you go to Portugal, Spain, Italy, many of these countries do not have even English as a second language. Many, even youngsters, don't speak English as a second language. Where if you go to Bulgaria, in particular Sofia, the capital, many people will speak a second language, or other languages, and that obviously includes English. So I do see quite a bright future for the country and a very bright future for the property market. Now, I do want to add before I finish the video is that it is important where you invest. One disadvantage about Bulgaria is that the population is decreasing simply because the birth rate is quite low. So they've got a problem which other Western European countries have, like Italy, Spain, etc., where the birth rate, particularly Italy, is very, very low. But in places like Sofia, the capital, this is not, people are moving more to that, and the city is expanding. So I would invest in either the capital, Sofia, and indeed, I think in most countries, it's always best to invest in property in the downtown areas if you can. And also, if you don't invest in Sofia, the other place you potentially could invest in is Varna on the Black Sea. Again, good population, 350,000, and that is actually increasing year on year. And during the summer, it reaches 1 million when all the tourists come in. So I think both Sofia and Varna are good places to invest in. Now, in the countryside, I'm not so sure because people are leaving the countryside in Bulgaria. Although I have to say, in the countryside, you'll bag a bargain. You can often find a house for under 15,000 euros. But as an investment purpose, I would go for either Sofia or Varna. Perhaps Burgas as well. It's another Black Sea coast city, which is quite well developed, expanding, good infrastructure, perhaps there. But I would go for either Sofia, probably number 1, and Varna number 2, and just stick to these areas. Please let me know if you've been to Bulgaria before, what you think. Do you think it's a good market to invest in real estate? I certainly think it is. Perhaps I've been negative in one or two other countries I've surveyed in my series, but I definitely think this is a good one to go for. Okay, it's been great having you again. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope it's been of use, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.